Alright, so I'm at the Las Vegas airport, in case you can't tell by all the slot machines in the background. And I would like to add that they're playing Portishead on the radio, which is pretty awesome. So even though I hate airports and I hate the TSA, I give them an A+ for their music selection. The TSA just sicked their supervisor on me, so I wanted to tell you guys a little bit about that. So basically, what happened was when I started approaching the TSA line, I started doing the usual, pull your laptop out of your bag, take your shoes off, pull all the wires out, camera, all that stuff. And when a guy was passing by, I said I would like to opt out when I get up there. He said, what are you talking about? You're not going through any scanny thing. This is just the pre-check line. You don't have to opt out. You won't go through it. And I reconfirmed this with him several times. I pointed at the machine and I said, so I am not going to walk through that. There's no chance that I'm going through that. And he said, no, this is just pre-check and you'll go right through. So I was thinking, awesome. I ended up in the lucky line. So I put all my stuff back in my bag and started to approach the line, and I saw the agent that I was just speaking with walk behind and go back where all the other TSA critters are and start talking to them. And I think my plane might be boarding, so I will finish this later. Alright, so false alarm, plane's not boarding. So to continue on with the story, so the guy that I was speaking with went behind and talked to some of the other agents and got in line, was approaching, nobody was going through the scanny thing, everybody was just walking through the normal one that we all are used to, pre-9/11. And as soon as I walked through it, the dingy buzzer sound thing went off, as if I had metal on me or something, and they told me they didn't tell me to walk through it again, they didn't tell me to check for, bracelet or jewelry or metal or anything like that. It's like they already knew. As soon as I walked through and the buzzer went off, they just said, all right, you have to go through the scanny thing because the buzzer went off. And I said, why did the buzzer go off for me? And they said it's random, random selection. Alright, sorry about the last video cutting off. I ran out of space on my phone. I'm at the, where am I? At the Miami airport right now. Sorry, I am sleep deprived. I'm at the Miami airport. I'm supposed to be on a plane, but they made everybody get back off the plane because there's something wrong with the landing gear, so we're all sitting in the waiting area again, and hopefully they'll get that fixed, before we land. So to pick back up where we left off, basically the buzzer went off when I went through the scanny thing, and they told me that I had to go through the other one that actually, images your whole body, and the one that I told them that I wanted to opt out of in the beginning, and they told me it was random, which is total BS. And they made me wait there for a while, and then they sent an agent over to escort me over to the area where I needed to go to get the lovely pat down, and she was very, typical government paid employee, just abrupt and rude and in a bad mood and stuff, and just came over and got me and was like, all right, come over here, and which bags are yours, grab your bags. And I thought they were going to search my bags, but they didn't. They just set them off to the side. And then she had me go over to the little area, and this is where things got interesting. So she told me to spread my arms and stand on the two little things where you're supposed to put your feet. And then she straight up asked me, are there any areas that are sensitive that you want me to know about? And I said, well, yeah, my boobs and my crotch and my butt. I would prefer you not touch those areas. I consider them to be sensitive, but you probably will touch them anyways. Those are the exact words I said to her. And all bets were off at that point. She completely, facial expression changed, and she got really pissed off and backed up a step and looked at me and said, what did you just say to me? And I said, you asked me if I had any sensitive areas, and I answered your question. She said, no, you have an attitude problem, and I'm not paid enough to deal with this. And so at that point, she started, okay. All right, no more planes. Whoa, I have arrived in Jacksonville. Gonna meet my sister. Alright, so to pick up where we left off, Okay, so I tell the lady that I don't want her touching me in those certain areas, and she gets pissed off. And she screams at the top of her lungs. She doesn't radio, she doesn't, you know, walk over, try to get anybody's attention. No, she yells across the the entire screening area, at the top of her lungs, "I need a supervisor." And then the supervisor yells at the top of her lungs back to the lady, "Why?" And the lady says, "'Cause she has an attitude." So basically the lady needed to go get a supervisor because I quote unquote had an attitude. And just to recap, the reason I had an attitude is because I told her, because she asked, I answered and told her which areas I did not want her to touch me. At least not until she buys me a drink. So they're yelling at each other across the screening area. Everybody in the area, of course, stops what they're doing and looks over, because when you're in an airport, since we've been bombarded with so much fear porn about terrorism and terrorists and everybody's out to get you, mostly brown people are out to get you. First thing everybody thinks when somebody yells out, "I need a supervisor," is that there's some sort of scary terrorism thing going on. So everybody's staring at me. And then what happened? So then the supervisor comes over. And the supervisor, hold on, I gotta make sure I'm going in the right direction here. Baggage claim, yeah, baggage claim. So then the supervisor asks me, she comes over, not with just her, but like 3, you know, backup agents, because I'm so scary, and says, "What seems to be the problem?" Not to me, but to the, Katrina was her name, the agent, who said I had an attitude problem. And so then Katrina tells her, like, she just starts making stuff up and says that, you know, I was supposed to go through the scanner, and then I decided I wanted to opt out, which is kind of backwards. I told them I wanted to opt out. The guy told me I wasn't going through the scanner anyways, and then once I got there, they forced me to have to go through the scanner. Anyways, she said that I was supposed to go through the scanner, I opted out, and that as soon as she asked me to come over to get a pat down, I started giving her attitude. And she changed the words around to tell the supervisor that she had asked me if there were any areas where I was sore or painful, that I didn't want her to touch me. And I interrupted her there and said she's lying. That's not what she said. She asked me if there are any sensitive areas that I don't want her to touch me. And I simply responded honestly to her question. And then Katrina said that I was lying. So it was my word against hers of the supervisor there. And of course they went with her. They brought over several more agents. So now there's like a good 5 or 6 TSA people surrounding me at the airport, all because I answered this lady's question about where my sensitive areas were.